Hey babes, welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Brandy. I am the host of the Be Real Babe show, a spin-off of the Be Real Babe podcast. And we're back, you guys. I am so excited to be back from my break. Today is Keeping Up with Canada. And oh my goodness, you guys, so much shit happened in the last 2 months that I've taken off, taken a little siesta from creating from the podcast and the show. My mind is actually blown. I had no avenue to talk about this stuff. So you best believe I'm excited to be back here in a new studio, doing some new things. And I'm just very, very happy to be back and look forward to making content for you guys for the next couple months. So today, if you're listening to this live or you're just tuning in, for those that don't know, on Mondays, it is Keeping Up with Canada. And we're going to be talking about some things that are going on in this country. And I'm going to pretend to be a T channel, not a news channel, so we don't get censored over here. But today I have 4 different topics for you guys. There's so much that happens that I'm not sure I'm going to be able to go back and cover everything, but I am going to pick up what happened the last couple of weeks and then hopefully try to have as live information as I possibly can for the things I'm reporting on. And so today I have 4 different topics for you. We're going to talk about Tax Freedom Day in 2025 in Canada, what the heck that means. I've talked about this before. And we're also going to be talking about an absolute tragic situation that is happening in Alberta right now with a young boy and his brother and the case that is going on there. We're also going to be going local to me here in BC, and we're going to be talking about an absolute heinous case and crime that happened here in the summer here in Kelowna that I very much want to highlight and make sure that I keep bringing you updates on. And then finally, we're going to go over to Quebec and we're going to look at some potential scamming, and I don't know what's going on there. It's giving SNC Lavalin, it's giving slush fund, but in Quebec through the platform for auto insurance. All alleged, all alleged. But if you're interested in listening to those topics, stick around and we'll jump right in. Okay, guys, I am so excited to be back. And as you see, I've made a bit of a difference in my studio, got more of a comfy chair going here, got a new sign, just going to keep it more casual with my blanket, got a new mic, got a new whole setup here. I'm super excited. I've got my notes here, going to be trying to doing a little bit more different editing with the YouTube as well as mentioned. But again, guys, thank you so much for sticking around and just being so patient while I learn how to do YouTube versus the podcast. As you probably know, if you're new, I just took a couple months, apologies, off here. The podcast, it runs for 2 seasons. If you guys don't know, Apple, Spotify, Rumble, I upload my podcast every Friday, and those are real conversations, amazing talks. Actually, I started the YouTube channel because there was just so much real talk happening on the podcast. I couldn't do all of it. I couldn't have these amazing conversations and then keep up with Canada. And obviously, we know how much I love going on the internet and finding random shit. So that bred the Be Real Babe show that you guys are watching today. We're going, I guess, technically in its 2nd season. And so we're going to keep up with Canada on Mondays, Internet Insanity on Wednesdays. And then if you want to listen to the podcast, that is going to be released every Friday. Just launched this last Friday, the episode, the opener, season 10. So shocked, you guys. I'm just absolutely blown away. So that's a Be Real Babe podcast on Spotify, Apple, or Rumble. And if you want to go back to last season, I am going to be posting the podcast on this YouTube channel when I take breaks into the season so that you guys get all the content. If you aren't Apple or Spotify or Rumble subscribers, then you're just going to have to wait a couple months and that will all come over here. But you can also see season 9 in the on the YouTube channel as well. Just go look for the podcast. So as mentioned, guys, today I've got quite a few topics. I said at the end of last season that I was going to do less, but here we are. I just feel like all these stories were important and I wanted to talk to them because they're what's going on. And I really just kind of want to highlight the level of crime that is happening in our country, to be honest with you. And a lot of this goes back to catch and release and how I absolutely just cannot stand this. And there's so much more. Again, there's literally, I was drowning in stories to talk about this, about the crime, but I'm just going to zone in on a couple that just hit me. And again, one's local to home. But I also found this today because I was thinking today, last season, I had figured out what Tax Freedom Day was. And I'm going to read through it so I can quote it properly, but I was blown away to figure out that Canadians pretty much work every year till June to pay off taxes, and then for the rest of the year, we're working for ourselves if we were to pay all of our taxes up front, essentially. And so I thought, oh my gosh, what is 2025? So let's dive in to see what exactly is Tax Freedom Day here in Canada. So the cost of living and affordability remain top of mind for Canadians, so it's critical to understand how taxes affect our household finances. Canadians pay many different taxes: income tax, sales tax, fuel tax, property tax, tax, so it can be hard to know how much you pay in total each year. With some of these taxes are visible, for instance, you can check your income tax return to see how much you pay in income taxes every year. Many are hidden and less visible. To help Canadians understand how much we pay in taxes each year, Fraser Institute analysts calculate Tax Freedom Day, the day of the year when the average Canadian family has earned enough money to pay all taxes levied by the federal, provincial, and local governments. In other words, if Canadians have to pay all their taxes up front, Tax Freedom Day is the day of the year Canadians get started to keep their money they earn, to start keeping the money they earn. This year, the average Canadian family of 2 or more people will earn $158,533 in income and pay an estimate of $68,266 or 43.1% in taxes. How y'all feel about that? How do you feel about that? Just with like, listen, I'm not necessarily against all this. I feel like we're lacking in some services and quality of things here around here that our taxes are going to. That is vastly being mismanaged, and Canadians are being left. I'm fine paying taxes to go to things to help people. I'm not okay with paying 43% taxes and seeing the amount of homelessness that is in Kelowna. I am not okay with seeing veterans being offered MAID because, according to reports, it's cheaper. That's what bothers me. This is why Tax Freedom Day is so interesting to me. If we paid all of our taxes for 2025 upfront, the average Canadian would pay the government every dollar they earn until June 8th, 2025. After working the first 158 days of the year for the government, we now get to work for ourselves. Yay! C'est bon. This year's Tax Freedom Day of June 8th comes one day earlier than last year. Y'all, we're making strides. We're making strides. Sorry, I'm going to have to get used to where my cameras are for here. So apologies when my eyes go weird. Okay, I'm aware. I'm new. Don't come at me. Meaning the average Canadian family must work one day less to pay off its total tax bill because the average family income rose faster, 5.2%, than its tax bill, 4.0%, partly due to a tax change from governments across the country. For example, Prince Edward Island lowered its business tax rate, Nova Scotia cut its HST rate, and both Alberta and the federal government reduced or have committed to reduce personal income tax rates. These changes all act to slow the growth in the amount the government can collect in taxes. Despite these changes that slow growth in the tax burden today, poor fiscal management by the government across the country is raising the tax burden Canadians may have to face in the future. That's your children if you have children. Just a reminder. Just a reminder. The federal government will run a projected $42.2 billion deficit this year, though Carney's government election platform suggests the deficit may actually reach $62.3 billion. And how we feel about sending money, billions of dollars away? Just thought. And why is it $20 billion more than it was projected? What? You haven't been working. Anyway, I'm trying not to. I'm going to try and report on tea the best I can without being political, but y'all, it's fucking hard. But I'm trying my best, okay? Okay, liberals, I'm gonna try, okay? Just give me grace. And the combined provincial governments across the country will run a projected deficits totaling $4.27 billion. All told, that's $84.9 billion in new federal and provincial government debt. Again, to pay for today's debt accumulations, future generations of Canadians may face higher taxes. Again, how do we feel about that, you guys? Because it doesn't sit well with me. I don't love it. Again, don't mind paying the taxes when things are going to things that are great. But when I'm looking out and around and seeing how many people are struggling, how many things are unaffordable, how many people are losing their fucking mind and crime is through the roof, I don't think things are going great. And I'm not just saying sending money away. Like, there's so much I've gone through, so much mismanagement of money over the last decade. You just have to, you just go to Wikipedia, okay? I'm blown away. Okay, so next story. Take that as you will. We're going to go and things are going to get a little bit deeper, and then we're going to end with like a little bit more government potential scandal to just not lighten the mood, but you know what I mean. So this story just kind of stopped me in my tracks. Again, on Internet Insanity, I talk about this quite a bit, where we talk about the dangers of AI and kids on social media and kids on the internet in general. And, I do have to wonder of all these medications and living in a world where there's no consequence. I'm not saying in this circumstance that's what happened, but I also get very nervous to people and children, even and teenagers, not understanding the depths of consequences when they see people maybe not getting away with stuff. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the motive is. We'll have to stay close on this one, but you'll see when I get through this here. So 12-year-old Alberta boy charged with attempting to kill younger brother. So this was posted September 5th in the Global News. A boy in southern Alberta has been accused of trying to stab his little brother to death and then allegedly lied about it, police said on Friday. The stabbing happened last week in Lethbridge, where on August 24th, around 4:30 p.m., police said officers responded to a report that a 7-year-old boy had been stabbed at a Northside residence. The Lethbridge Police Service said a 911 call was made after the boy's father arrived and found his young son in serious medical distress. Police said about an hour had transpired between when the stabbing took place and the dad got home. According to police, the victim's 12-year-old brother claimed an unknown man had entered the home and stabbed his younger brother before fleeing the scene. The 7-year-old was initially taken to EMS to the Chinook Regional Hospital in Lethbridge with critical injuries. The boy was then airlifted to the Stollery Children's Hospital in Edmonton. Officers with the Criminal Investigation Section began combing the property and found a knife believed to be used in the attack. As the investigation progressed, Lethbridge police said evidence was obtained indicating the 12-year-old boy stabbed his brother repeatedly and believed he had killed him, then lied about an intruder entering his home. Y'all. This is like, again, don't know this, and I'm going to try. This is a child, so I'm trying to be graceful here. But there's a different element to this one, I think, that kind of just shook me, is that he stabbed him several times and then thought he had died and then lied about it. So I just wonder, like, what was the like, again, we'll keep a close eye on this case, but I'm just super curious, and I would like to follow through to see, if I know we might not be able to hear much because this is a young child, but at the same time, hopefully they are doing some studies on this, like what led him to do that, what led him to lie about it, what led him to believe, like, if this is just my opinion, okay, if he did stab him and it was by accident and maybe in a fit of anger, and I'm not saying that's okay, but we've seen a few cases with that, right? Kids don't quite understand, they lash out and then they're so upset, but this boy lied about it. And so I don't know, because maybe there's so much trauma going through that. I've never been in that situation, so perhaps your mind obviously isn't in the right place, but I'm very curious to see how this goes forward. But it just, my heart breaks for those parents, because obviously they have one here in critical condition and then they've essentially lost their other child no matter what, and like the mental toll that's going to take. The 12-year-old boy, who cannot be identified due to the Criminal Youth Justice Act, has been charged with attempted murder and aggravated assault. Lethbridge Police Service Sergeant Ashlyn Snowden, who was in charge of the Criminal Investigation Section, answered questions about the case on Friday. He wasn't able to reveal much due to the victim and accused both being underage, something he noted isn't common. These circumstances are incredibly rare, thank God. Police quickly determined that there was no ongoing risk to neighbors or to the public. When we respond to any type of incident and we get a version of events or a story, we need to gather all the evidence and establish truly what did happen. Our role is truth seekers and to find all the details the best we can, Snowden said. It is just as important to prove that something didn't happen as it did, and to also have an open mind. The accused currently is in custody awaiting a bail hearing. Police have not released a possible motive for the attack. Snowden said it would be inappropriate to speak on that at this time. The 7-year-old victim remains in Stollery in stable condition, and Snowden said that he is doing better than last week. Police said Child and Family Services was contacted and the family members have been connected with the family services for additional support. It is difficult for everyone. I think that's involved. Not only the investigators, but also the responding medical staff and all the other agencies that are involved. Lethbridge Police thanked Alberta Health Services and the Edmonton Police and their RCMP for help with this case. Brutal. And it's like, there's so much crime going on outside of the homes and people that aren't a part of your homes. And now all of a sudden it's, people, I don't know if you guys noticed this, and I don't know, again, if it's just my fucking algorithm, but Facebook has just been showing me all these fights lately, like all these Canadians just fighting about fucking fishing spots, fighting about someone splashing their water. There was one that fucking went viral for Kelowna. They're fighting over fucking golf. Like, honestly, I think the pandemic pushed us inside, and then people got really cocky online and they just started saying shit, and no one punched them in the mouth. And now they're out in the real world where they spend all this time saying shit online and no one punching them in the mouth, and then they just do it in real life, and then a fight ensues. Like, is that just me? You guys let me know. I'm sure there's multiple reasons, but it's really strange. Okay, babe, so the next topic, article, 2 articles actually that we're going to read, just discuss me deep into my core, and this goes back to me being upset about crime laws, and you'll see why while we go through this story. And I just always want you to keep everyone that's involved in this, all the victims, the mom, and Bailey who passed away, to please keep them in your prayers and thoughts, and hope for some advancement in the laws to ensure that this shit never happens again. Because again, this is right down in my hometown here, where I live, I guess hometown now, but not where I'm from. But it just, I think a lot of people in the town are just absolutely disgusted. And then there's a part 2 to that, that's obviously not as disgusting as the murder, but it just shows why people are afraid to speak out. And you'll see why. Let's get into it. So, time for Bailey's Law, says mother of slain Kelowna woman. So this is an article from July, but I really wanted to talk about this, and I will keep you guys up to date, because her mom is working really, really hard, and she's reaching out to the community to get support and help. And so that's why I wanted to talk about this today, even though it might be, like I said, a couple months. This is something I've been waiting for the show to talk about, and wanted to make sure, again, that I highlight this. A Kelowna woman's public attack and subsequent death has become a rallying cry for change. We're going to be making small changes to laws so we can protect even more women, Karen Fair, the mother of Bailey McCourt, 32, said. Talking about this is what keeps me going. Otherwise, I might fall apart. Prayers go out to you, girl. Sending all love and support. I don't know if you ever see this. I know we became friends on Facebook. Please let me know if you do see this, if I can help in any way. You're more than welcome to come on the show. Anybody involved in what we can do here. But I feel like talking about it, as she says, at least keeps it alive and keeps the awareness out there. McCourt died July 4th after she was allegedly chased down and bludgeoned to death in Kelowna's parking lot. In a Kelowna parking lot. Her friend Carrie Weeb also injured in a violent incident. McCourt's estranged husband, James Plover, was later arrested and subsequently charged with second-degree murder. 3 hours earlier, he'd been convicted of uttering threats and choking. The identity of the victim is under a publication ban. Fair says she hopes to see changes in laws that will limit the freedoms of people who have been charged in violent crimes. I want it to be called Bailey's Law, she said, adding that it would add meaning to her daughter's untimely death. That her death is part of a bigger issue in this country is something that's prompted another call for action from organizations that support women in times of crisis. Bailey's death is not an isolated incident. It is part of a horrifying and ongoing pattern of intimate partner violence that continues to escalate, Karen Mason, co-founder and executive director of the organization called Supporting Survivors of Abuse and Brain Injury Through Research, said in an open letter to Sean Fraser, Minister of Justice and Attorney General of Canada. Women are being killed by current or former partners at an alarming rate, and too often that warning signs, especially strangulation, are minimized or ignored. Mason said the system failed to intervene in a meaningful enough way. Mason said that she'd spoken with Kelowna MP Stephen Fuhr about the issue and the countless cases of brain injury that intersect with intimate partner violence as a result of concussion or strangulation. In that conversation, she told Fuhr that she would like the federal government to recognize femicide as a distinct criminal offense that carries with it an automatic incarceration with no option for bail. Naming the crime reflects the gendered nature of this violence and creates the possibility of more accurate data collection and more targeted prevention. She also calls for the expansion of reverse onus bail provisions that result in detentions in all cases where the accused have been charged with strangulation or assault by choking, a known and well-documented red flag for future lethal violence. I guess this is my question, and again, I don't know, dick fuck all you guys, so hopefully sound off in the comments for me. If we know that these are well-documented red flags, why are we now in 2025 addressing this like this? I'm not saying now's not the time, please absolutely fucking should, but that's just my question. If we know these are well-documented flags, pourquoi are we, why is it taking this group, this mom, this situation in summer of 2025 to possibly get the ball rolling here? I feel like this is something we should be paying our taxes to move forward. Like, is there red tape? Like, what? I don't know. Please let me know. I'm generally asking. I'm not being ignorant that there's not stuff that could be happening. It just, from what I'm reading, it doesn't feel like that. Survivors should not have to live in fear waiting for court proceedings to unfold, she said. The burden must be on the accused to prove why they should be released, not on survivors to prove why they should be protected. And agreed with that. Like I guess there's got to be to a degree because, and I'm not, please don't come at me, but there are people that do lie on both sides about crime against them and about being victims, but most of them aren't. And I think if we see patterns, to me there's no fucking question, and I'm not saying if there's not patterns or people look great, because abusers and narcissists can look great, they can to the outer world, right? So I'm not saying that, but without a fucking doubt, repeat offenders, people that were just in prison, what are we doing? Like, I understand why we don't have mental asylums, because like lobotomies and stuff like that, like, okay, maybe they took it too far back then, but jail or just the streets is not what's doing it for people with mental health issues here in Canada. Why aren't we having mental health facilities to help either incarcerate or monitor at the minimum? Because that obviously didn't work. This bail catch and release shit is not working. So I'm so grateful for these types of groups that are going through this and doing this, because it's insane that it has to be done, but it's obviously is needed. Sorry, I can't speak today. The organization would also like intimate partner violence to be treated differently. BC Prosecution Service said Plover has been released on bail previously and had not run afoul of those conditions prior to the alleged murder. He was due in court to be sentenced for choking and uttering threat charges in September. He now remains in custody. Why? This is what I'm saying. Why couldn't we have kept him in custody? He has a history. A history. Again, can't blame everything. He is responsible for doing this. However, where are the protections? What? September? He killed her in July. He was in custody that day. There's no thought of just holding people like that? No? Again, I don't know. Maybe there's something else. Please tell me. Tell me what I'm ignorant to, because this sounds stupid. Just how this is being handled. Now, here's another part to this. BC bakery owner says stores vandalized because Bailey McCourt fundraiser. The owners of Kelowna, BC bakery, who organized fundraiser and spoke out about domestic violence after the brutal murder of Bailey McCourt, said their storefront was vandalized because of their advocacy. Cupcations posted about this incident to social media Sunday, sharing blurred images of words scrawled in red paint on the business front window. The graffiti wasn't just random. It was sprayed directly over our window poster for the upcoming event, A Walk in Bailey's Shoes, and carried words meant to attack our family personally, the social media posted. Cupcations held a fundraiser in McCourt's honor last month, drawing a crowd of hundreds and bringing in thousands of dollars. So sorry, this article was in August. So this fundraiser was in July, I believe July 15th was the date. Amazing job, guys. Thank you so much. Cupcations is a place that we go and we've bought from before, and is a place that we go and support. Love it. They're so good. We've bought them for the girlies for cakes. In this weekend social media post, the bakery's owners revealed that they have personal connections to domestic violence. As you may know, our family has experienced the impact of domestic abuse. That lived reality is why we felt so strongly about supporting Bailey and her family through Bailey's Day, the post read. We want to shine a light on an issue too many are forced to endure in silence. Sadly, this vandalism is a stark reminder of why victims are often afraid to come forward, because backlash can be loud, cruel, and very public. In the wake of vandalism, the owners said they were heartened when a window washing company stepped up and cleaned the graffiti for free. Sometimes, you guys, Canadians are just the most amazing people. The kindness turned a heavy day into one filled with gratitude and hope, the post read. We share this not for sympathy, but to reaffirm why this work matters. Abuse thrives in silence, but change grows when communities come together. Thank you to everyone who continues to support us, Bailey's family, and all those who need to know they are not alone. The post said that the graffiti was blurred out for legal reasons, but did not elaborate further on the content. The owner said that the vandalism has been reported to RCMP. Like, what are we doing here? Why are why are fuckheads vandalizing a store that's trying to stick up for someone who went through domestic violence and that ultimately ended her life? And again, I don't know, maybe this is something personal to them. I don't know their story. So I'm not sure if this person maybe was doing that. They mentioned that they had their own. So I don't know if that's in connection with Bailey or someone else or what that was, but it's disgusting behavior, and completely agreed that at least all that we can do is speak and talk about it, because the more people talk about it, the more we talk about signs, whether that's signs with people you know. And again, the abusers could be completely on the outside, look like amazing individuals. So sometimes you cannot always victim blame. You cannot be like, oh, how did you not know he was an abuser? And also at the same time, we need to open up spaces so women can come and say those things. So I will say this always and forever: my DMs, my email, the berealbabe@hotmail.com. You can find me on Instagram or TikTok at the Be Real Babe or the Be Real Babe podcast. You are always welcome to shoot me a message if you are needing to talk, needing anything. I'm always here to listen. And I'm just really disgusted by this type of behavior, but just really blown away again by this community that's going to step up and help. And I hope that we continue this conversation. And I do hope that I can come back here in the next couple months and share some exciting news of laws that have been changed in Bailey's favor, because that would just be, nothing will take away what it is, but at least something will come out of it. So hopefully no other family has to go through that again. So rest in peace, Bailey. I'm so sorry that this happened to you, that we didn't have laws to protect you, that we didn't have, I don't even know, because I don't know what happened to him, mental health things. I don't know, better laws. I don't know what the answer is, but I'm sorry that we didn't have it. And I promise that I will continually remind everybody of your story and continue speaking out for those that suffer with domestic violence, and always be an open space, open area for people. And again, if you want to talk about your domestic violence experience, because that could be healing to you, I would love to have you on the podcast to share your story. I'm not afraid to talk about anything, but I'm never going to go up to someone and ask them. So you come to me, you come to my DMs, and I'd love to have you on the podcast. Now let's go on to the last article of the episode. Wanted to leave it a little less sad crime and a little bit more typical crime that we seem to be used to. Okay, so last article. Potential crime. We don't know. I just want to know. I don't know nothing about this, you guys. This article just like pulled me in because I was like, this is kind of giving Green Slush Fund. This is kind of giving SNC Lavalin. This is kind of giving like, Arrive Scam kind of thing. But you guys let me know. This is just alleged. This is what I think. We don't know. Auto board scandal. See, this is right out of Yahoo News. I didn't even say this, okay? So this is coming after September 3rd. Legault says more accountability needed. Cast blame everywhere else. C'est magnifique. Montreal, Quebec Premier François Legault testified on Tuesday that he was kept in the dark about hundreds of millions of dollars in cost overruns at the Auto Insurance Board, laying most of the blame for the scandal on the leaders of the state-run corporation. Who else has state-run ones? British Columbia, ICBC. Is your scandal going to be next? Legault was the latest member of the government to take the stand at public inquiry examining how the SAAQ Click online platform, sorry if I said that wrong, Quebecers, where Quebecers can renew their driver's license and register for road tests, costs at least 500 million more than planned. 500 million more, not just 500 million, 500 million more. Quebec? We like this? No, I don't. I wouldn't. The scandal has upended his government a little more than 1 year ahead of provincial election, offering a steady stream of embarrassing headlines and political fodder for the opposition, who have accused Legault and his cabinet of misleading Quebecers. On Tuesday, the premier said he knew nothing about the cost of overruns until February, when the Auditor General released a report revealing the total price tag of the platform would be more than $1.1 billion. He said that he would never have been told about the cost overruns, or he should have been told about the cost of overruns sooner. I don't find it normal that I learned so late that there's an overrun of $5 million. That's not nothing, he told the commissioner presided by Judge Dennis Gallant. Legault's appearance comes after previous testimony at the inquiry suggested his office was reportedly informed as early as 2020 of a risk of ballooning costs. The inquiry has also heard that in September 2022, the province's top civil servant at the time, Yves Ouellette, was notified of a $222 million shortfall in the online platform. Legault's chief of staff, Martin Koskinen, took the stand later on Tuesday. Ouellette is expected to follow. The premier said that he only learned in 2023 that the Auto Insurance Board was launching an online platform, when the botched rollout caused long lineups outside Société de l'Assurance Automobile de Québec offices delayed for people trying to renew their licenses. However, Legault said that he thought the issues were an implementation problem that were resolved in the months that followed. Plausible deniability. Always, always. C'est bon. During the period when the costs of the platform were rising, he said he was focused on managing the COVID-19 pandemic like a... I don't want to get banned off social media. You fill in the blank, like a blank. The arrival of hundreds of thousands of temporary immigrants, irony, and the cost of living crisis. Maybe if you didn't overspend $500 million on this platform, that would be a way to help some of the cost of living and spending. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't fucking know. Legault said that among members of his government, it's the transport minister who ultimately is responsible for the auto insurance board. However, he also said it was never made clear to those ministers, François Bourdonnel, who was at the helm of the department between 2018 and 2022, and later Geneviève Guilbault, who currently holds that portfolio, that they were overrun by $500 million. Legault was asked to comment on a document produced by the Auto Board in 2022 that outlines some of the project's financials. A previous witness testified that Ouellette was sent the document that same year. I thought you didn't know about it until 2023. The premier conceded the document showed an overrun of $200 million, adding, "I would have liked to have known about it." In closing remarks, Legault said that as premier, he is ultimately responsible for running the province, even if he casts the blame for the scandal everywhere. "I think the ministers could have asked more questions, but for me, the essence of the problem is with the people at the Auto Board," he said, suggesting those leaders had failed to inform the government of the project's true cost. "I don't want to say they hide things, but it seems the information that was given wasn't clear," he said. "Quebecers expect to see consequences for those responsible," he added. The Quebec government dismissed Auto Board CEO Eric Ducharme from top job in July amid the unfolding scandal. Ducharme has been tapped into 2023 to replace Denis Marsolais, who was removed after the disastrous rollout of the online platform. Legault also cast some blame of the previous Quebec Liberal government, which was in power when the original contract was signed. He suggested that the contract had been poorly negotiated, lacking clear consequences if the project was delayed. Okay, listen, I mean this in the kindest, absolute fucking way. I've never, you know what? I swear we should just not call them premiers. We should just call them deflectors. Like, I swear government people should not be called government anything. They should just be called deflectors, because it's always the other administration's fault. It's always another minister's fault. It's always people weren't told, mismanagement. We heard the same thing out of Trudeau all the time. We're hearing the same thing out of Carney, and I don't fucking know. We probably hear the same thing out of Pierre. I'm not saying anyone would be better. However, I've not seen Pierre up there, so I can't say that, and I would hope that, but I'm also not a fucking fool, and I don't think that any government is coming here to save us. I'm just tired of the Liberal government, and I want to bitch at someone else. I want to hate somebody else. Okay, I'm tired of hating the liberal government, and which, anyways, we'll cap it at that. But I hope you guys really enjoyed this episode. I hope I helped you keep up with Canada this week. Like I said, every week I'm going to be coming to you on Mondays with Keeping Up with Canada on YouTube in my new studio. I hope you guys like my new little mic. Also, shout out to the Be Real Collective here. See my new hat. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit more casual over here. Not always going to wear a hat though. But today I just obviously had to take a minute to see this beautiful dad hat with the Be Real on there. Oh, sorry, I gotta get used to where I look and what's going on here. So the Be Real Collective, you can find us on Instagram. We are doing merch. We're just kind of doing some R&D stuff right now. And in 2026, we're going to be launching our complete line and more of a, you'll just know more when you need to know more, but was really excited to be able to wear that for this first episode of Keeping Up with Canada. Again, you guys, on YouTube on Monday, Keeping Up with Canada. Also on Wednesdays, we go to Internet Insanity, and that means I pick random shit on the internet, whether that's some crime, some drama, TikTok, whatever it is. Or like Netflix documentaries. I have got 2, possibly 3 really good stories for you this Wednesday, so make sure you tune back into that. And then on Fridays, if you head over to Apple and Spotify or Rumble, you can listen to the Be Real Babe podcast, where I interview amazing people. And again, if you want to be on the show, if you have any stories you want me to cover, any questions, comments, concerns, you can reach me at the berealbabe@hotmail.com. Keeping it old school. I should have tried to revive my brandybabe500@hotmail.com from when I was 15, but we'll let that go. But thank you guys so much again for being patient with me as I'm learning. I hope you guys like this new setup. Let me know in the comments, and I really hope that you have a good rest of your weekend. We started out with Keeping Up with Canada, and we'll be here again for the next 5 months. But until next time, guys, bye. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Until next time, bye.